Okay, we're doing page 29, and we're talking about how Canadians govern themselves. And Diala, would you like to read versus making laws, please?
Okay. How a bill becomes law. The legislative process. Step 1. First reading. The bill is considered read for the first time and is printed. Step 2. Second reading. Remember David. The bill's pri- principle. Step 3. Committee, committee stage. Committee members study the bill clause by clause. Step 4. Report stage. Members can make other amendment. Third reading. Members debate and vote on the bill. Senate. The bill follows a similar process in the Senate. Royal assent. The bill receives royal assent after being passed by both houses.
Yeah, very good, very good. Okay, so do you remember they call the House of Commons a house, and then they call a Senate a house. Yeah, they're each called a house. It's a kind of a funny name. Okay, so when members of Parliament have an idea and they want to make it into a law, so when they first have to make it a bill, so it's called a bill first. And so they have this great idea and they want it to be a law. And so there's 7 steps, and there's 3 readings. They have to read it 3 times because they want to make sure it's correct. So the step 1 is the reading. It's just read and printed for everybody to read in the House of Commons. So it's a bill. It's still a bill. And then step 2, second reading. They read it twice, and members debate the bill's principles. You know what that word debate means? You know what that word debate? Anybody know what that word means? Debate means to have a
Yes.
yeah. Do you know, Zaniba? Do you know where the debate? You know what that word means?
Pay. What?
Debate. Yeah, this word. Members debate the bill's principle. Does anybody know what that means?
Pay.
No, it's okay. So what it is, they have a conversation, but what they say, a debate is when one side thinks these are the good points and the bad points, and then the other side says, no, these are the good points and the bad points. And they have, it's like an organized argument. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah, like the example, the 4 5 people they talking about something. Yeah, you know what?
Yeah, I understand. Oh, yeah, 4 or 5.
Yeah,
Like some people will say, for example, let's have a debate.
yeah,
Some
yeah,
people will say, some people say marijuana is okay.
yeah,
Everybody, marijuana should be okay for
yeah,
everybody. And then other people say, no, marijuana is bad. And so
yeah,
if you have a bill saying that you want marijuana to be okay in Canada, then you debate it. So you say, yes, we want marijuana to be good, and the other people say, no, we want,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Do
that's
you
a
know
debate.
that teacher agree or disagree? That's the one I know. Me.
Oh, degree, and yeah, it's the same idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Same.
So
Yeah,
you
me.
have an idea, but you agree with that idea or you
Don't
disagree.
agree,
Yeah,
disagree.
that's exactly right. That's a good way to describe it. So there's a lot of debates in the House of Commons. That's all they do. All they do is debate ideas. So they talk about ideas. Okay, so they read it once. The bill is they read it once, then they read it 2 times, and then they do this thing called a committee. A committee is a bunch of people. So you have people from the government and from the opposition, and they look at it very closely. It says they study the bill clause by clause. That means that they study every sentence in the bill. and they make sure they understand and there's no problems. And then number 4, what they do, they take the report after the committee looks at it. They go back and then the House of Commons people and the committee can make any changes. It says make other amendments. Amendment means a change, to change something. And that's step 4. So they can make it changes. And then the third reading is the members debate again. So they do lots of debating, lots of agreeing and disagreeing and talking, and then finally at the third reading they vote. And if there's enough people that say yes, marijuana maybe is a good idea in Canada, then the House of Commons is finished. So the members of parliaments are finished. Then it goes to the Senate, and the Senate does the same thing. They have lots of reading, and then they have debates, and they do a lot of the same thing, and they talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And then if the Senate says, they vote and they say, yes, marijuana is okay, then it's finally ready. Okay, so it goes 6 steps before it's finally ready. And then at the very end, the Governor General signs it. And that means it's royal assent. So that means royal means like a king or queen, but we only have a Governor General. So the bill receives royal assent after being passed by both houses. So that means that it is now ascending. Its assent means to go up. So it means the bill now is going up to becoming a law. That's what it means. Okay, so you have to try to remember for this part here, try to remember that they read it 3 times. There's 3 readings, because sometimes that's a question. How many readings before a bill becomes a law? That's a question, and it's 3 readings. And then the other thing is, what do you call what is the name of a law before it is a law? And you could say it is a bill. Before it is a law, it is called a bill. Yeah, okay. It's a lot of talking and a lot of debating, but that's how our government works. So, because they want to make sure everything is correct. Yeah, very good. Okay. And I'm doing too much talking. I want to hear you reading. So let's see. Zaniba, could you read this part here where it says living in a democracy? Could you read that part, please?
Okay, sure. Living in a democracy, Canadian citizens have the right and the responsibility to participate in making decisions that affect them. It is important for Canadians age 18 or more to participate in their democracy by voting in federal, provincial, or territorial and municipal elections.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Okay. So do you remember when we did this way back when we were talking about rights and responsibilities? So remember I said a right is something Canada gives you, and a responsibility is something you give Canada. So for this one, you have to do, they're saying you have to do both. You have the right to vote. You have the right to vote, but you also have a responsibility. So Canada gives you the right to vote, and you give Canada the responsibility to vote. Yeah, so it says voting is very important. And it's in federal, provincial, territorial, and municipal. Anybody age 18 or over. Very good. Okay. Now, the next one is talking about, we talked about Canada being 3 things. We said it was a federal state, a parliamentary democracy, and a constitutional monarchy. Those are the 3 things. Now let's talk about this constitutional monarchy. And let's see, I'm going to get Diala to read this one, and then I'm going to get Ghazala to read the next two, and then Zaniba to read the next one. So could you read this one too, please, Diala? Constitutional
Okay.
monarchy.
As a constitutional monarchy, Canada's head of state is a hereditary sovereign queen or king, who reign in accordance with the Constitution, the rule of law. The suffrage is a part of Parliament, playing an important non-partisan role as the force of citizenship and allegiance, most visibly during royal visits to Canada. Here, Majesty is a symbol of Canadian sovereignty, a guardian of constitutional freedoms, and a reflection of our history. The royal family's example of lifelong service to the community is an encouragement for citizens to give their best to their country.
Okay, could you
As
stop? Sorry, Dale, could you stop there for a second? I just want to
okay,
talk. Yeah, very good. I just want to talk about this.
okay,
So this is a constitutional monarchy. So we have a queen, Queen Elizabeth II, and she is called Canada's head of state. So she is the really the top of our country, and is called a hereditary sovereign. That means when she dies, her children will be the king or queen. That means hereditary. So who reigns in accordance with the Constitution, the rule of law. So she is our queen because of our Constitution. And people, sometimes Canadian think, why do we have a queen? She doesn't do anything. And some people think that. Some people in Canada think, we should not have a queen because she's in Great Britain, in England, and she's not in Canada. But she is really a symbol for us. She's part of our parliament, part of the way our government works, but she doesn't really do anything. But she is a symbol, and she is a symbol, and it helps to organize our government. Yeah, so we need the queen because she is part of the way our government is set up. But she doesn't really do anything. It says she plays playing important parts, it says, but she's nonpartisan. So she's not like conservative or liberal or New Democratic. She has no party. And all they focus on is citizenship and allegiance and royal visits. So what they're saying here is Her Majesty, the Queen. That Majesty just means like when you call a king or queen, it's like calling them a great person. They just use that word Majesty. So she is a symbol of Canadian sovereignty. So do you remember way back when we started this, way back when we said Canada is the Queen and the Queen is Canada. So that's how you have to kind of think of this too. We have a constitutional monarchy. We have a queen. She doesn't do anything for Canada, but she is a symbol. And that symbol is very important for our government because it helps us organize our government. Yeah, okay. And also it says she is a guardian of constitutional freedoms, a reflection of our history. So it helps us remember that we started from Great Britain. So that's kind of why we have a queen. Some people wonder why, but that's why. We need her for the symbol. We need her to build our government. And there's other things that she does that are useful to Canada. And yeah, so let's talk about those because not many people talk about these. And so could you read this part, Diallo, where it says the royal let's see, where did we finish here? I think we finished,
Oh, as head here.
which one
Down.
did oh, as head of
As head.
Commonwealth?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, so just before we get to that, so she is a symbol, we need her for our government. And then it says the royals family's example of lifelong service. So that means the royal family, all they do is the only, like the Queen's family, all they do is try to do things for other people. That's really all they do. They help charities. They try to help other people in England and in other countries. So that's their job, really. Their job is to help other people in Great Britain and in other countries too. So people look at that and they say that is service. They are helping other people, and so that is something that is that's a good thing to do. And so it says we should try to be like them and do good things for our country too. So that's what the royal family does. Good. Okay. And then could you see as head of the Commonwealth? Is that where you started? I think. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
As head of the Commonwealth, the sovereign links Canada to 53 other nations that cooperate to advance social, economic, and culture progress. Other constitutional monarchies include Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Australia, New Zealand, the Netherlands, Spain, Zealand, Japan, Jordan, and Morocco.
Yeah, Morocco. Yeah, very good. Very good. Does anybody remember what the Commonwealth is? Anybody remember that? Commonwealth? The Queen is head of the Commonwealth. Does anybody remember that?
Sorry, teacher. You tell us even before, maybe we study.
Can you say that again? Was that Zaniba? I
Yeah,
couldn't hear you. Oh,
you explain for us even before. Sorry, teacher, and then I don't know. I'm not remember really.
oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I just have to turn my volume up. I can't hear very well. Okay. Yeah, so the Commonwealth, I'm not sure if I heard you right, but the Commonwealth is all the countries that, do you remember? They all used to be controlled by Great Britain. Yeah, so do you remember like Great Britain went all over the world, England and Great Britain,
Yeah.
the UK, United Kingdom, they went all over the world and they conquered countries, is what they did. They had a very strong navy and boats, and they went all over the world in Africa and India, and down to Australia, New Zealand, and to Canada. And they went to all these countries and they conquered them. Yeah, they controlled them. And then later, the country said, "No, thank you. We don't want you anymore." And so the England doesn't control them anymore. But those countries are all connected. They all share things because they started out by Great Britain. And those countries are all called the Commonwealth. And so they're still connected. And there's 53 countries that Great Britain used to control. So there's a lot in Africa, many countries in Africa, and then Australia and New Zealand, and then Canada. So there's 53 altogether, 53 countries that are in the Commonwealth. And then the Queen is the head. She is the leader of the Commonwealth. And so what the Commonwealth does is they do trade, and then they share, they help each other, with social things, and they do a lot of things together. They have sports, like they have the Olympics. There's also a thing called the Commonwealth Games, where all the countries in the Commonwealth, they compete in sports. Yeah, so there's many ways they work together. And the Queen is the head of the Commonwealth. She is the leader. And then it says other countries that have constitutional monarchies. So there's many countries in the world have constitutional monarchies. And so Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Australia, New Zealand, the Netherlands, Spain, Thailand, Japan, Jordan, and Morocco. Yeah. So it's a very common way to have a government is the constitutional monarchy. Okay. So
Brian,
yeah, yes, go ahead,
Sorry.
Gazelle.
Sorry, I want to leave because I need pick up my daughter. Sorry.
No problem, no problem. So I'll put this video on the
Yeah.
YouTube channel and you can watch the
Thank you. Yeah, in the classroom. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Okay, good.
Sorry, bye.
It's okay. It's
Bye.
okay.
Bye.
And then, so Zaniba, would you like to read the next part here where it says there is a clear distinction? Could you read that?
Okay. There is clear distinction on the Canada between the head of the state, the sovereign, and the head of government, the prime minister, who actually dissects the governing of the country.
Yeah, very good, very good. So that's what I was saying. The prime minister kind of governs the country. He runs the country. But the head of state is just a symbol. So the queen is like a symbol. The sovereign is a symbol, but the head of government, the prime minister, he actually runs things. He runs the country. Yeah, very good. And then could you read this part, please, Diala, and then we'll get Zaniba to read the next
Okay.
two, please.
The sovereign is represented in Canada by the Governor General, who is appointed by the sovereign on the advice of the Prime Minister, usually for 5 years, in each of the 10 provinces. The sovereign is represented by the Lieutenant Governor, who is appointed by the Governor General on the advice of the Prime Minister, also normally for 5 years.
Yeah, very good, very good. Okay. So we don't have the Queen doesn't live in Canada. So we have instead we have a Governor General. And so what happens is our Prime Minister, he talks to the Queen. The Prime Minister talks to the Queen in England. And when we need a new Governor General, the Prime Minister said, Your Majesty, Queen Elizabeth, we think this person would be a good Governor General. And then the Queen herself, she appoints the Governor General. So that's kind of a big deal because the Governor General represents the Queen in Canada. So you're usually a Governor General for 5 years. So 5 years. Every 5 years, the Prime Minister goes to the Queen and says, Your Majesty, we think this person would be a good Governor General. And then the Queen appoints them. That means she gives them the job, appoints them. Yeah. And then each province does the same thing, but they don't call it a Governor General, they call it a Lieutenant Governor. Lieutenant Governor. So in the country, we have a Governor General. In the provinces, we have a Lieutenant Governor. And this is kind of the same idea. The Prime Minister, he goes to the Governor General this time and says, Governor General, I think this person would be a good Lieutenant Governor for Ontario, or this person would be a good Lieutenant Governor for, Alberta. So he does that for 10 to 10 provinces. And again, they do that for 5 years. They have a 5 years. So in Canada, we have a Governor General appointed by the Queen. The Prime Minister tells her who, 5 years. And in the province, we have Lieutenant Governors appointed by the Governor General, and the Prime Minister says who, and 5 years. They each have 5-year jobs. Okay. Let's keep going. We're doing good. Okay, so let's see. Zaniba, could you read this part where it says the interplay? Can you do that part, please?
Yes. The interplay between the three branches of government, the executive, mm, legislative. Teacher, that word I don't know this.
That's right. Good, good. Executive and legislative.
Yeah, and then judicial, which work together but also sometimes in creative tension, helping to secure the rights and freedom of Canada. Some word I didn't do correct.
Yeah, so we'll talk about these. So there's three types of branches. So three parts of government. One is the executive, and the executive is the prime minister and all the cabinet ministers. So they're like the bosses. They're like they're like the bosses, or they're like the managers. And then the legislative is all the members of parliament. Everybody in the House of Commons. That's all the members of parliament. And the judicial are the courts. So they're the judges. So you have three different levels of government. And then the governor general's on top of that too, the sovereign and the governor general's on top of that. So the executive is the prime minister and his cabinet. So the prime minister and the cabinet ministers. The legislative is the everybody in the House of Commons, so all the members of parliament. And then judicial are the judges. So they're the courts. They're the people that decide what happens in the courts. And so they all they work together, but they don't always agree. Like you were saying, Zaniba, they disagree and they agree, but they do more disagreeing than agree. So that's why they do that, because they don't want one group to have all the power, because it wouldn't be good. So they want one group to have some of the power, and then the other group has some of the power, and then they call it creative tension. That's just a fancy way to say they fight. That's just a fancy way to say they have tension. That means they fight over ideas, or they debate ideas. Yeah. So that's why our system does that, because if one group has all the power, then it won't work. It won't work. So everybody, the three parts, the three branches, three parts of the government, the executive, the legislative, and the judicial, they each have some of the power, and together they have to work together to do what's right for Canadians. Yeah. So that kind of explains that. I think that will be a question too. What are the three branches of government? Executive, legislative, and judicial. That is sometimes a question. Okay. And then could you do the next part, please, Diala? Each province.
Okay. Each provincial and territorial government has an elected legislature where provincial and territorial laws are based. The members of the legislature are called members of the Legislative Assembly, MLAS, members of the National Assembly, and MNAS, members of the Provincial Parliament, MPPS, or members of the House of Assembly, MHAS, depending on the province or territory.
Yeah, so this is, do you remember everybody in the House of Commons in Ottawa is called an MP, a member of parliament. But we have 10 provinces, and they all have different names for their, there's so many different names. There's so many different names. So the provinces, what they call their different members. So let's just try to remember some of these names, because these will be questions today anyways. So let's see. Members of Legislative Assembly, MLAs. Members of Legislative Assembly is MLAs. So LA, or the M is always the member, so that's easy. But the LA, Legislative Assembly, that's the LA. members of the National Assembly, NAs, so it's N National, A Assembly, member National Assembly. And then this one is members of provincial parliament. So this is members is the M, provincial is the P, parliament is the P. And the last one is members of the House of Assembly. And this one is the member is the M, the House is the H, and the Assembly is the A. Yeah, so try to just look at the first letter of each word, and then you'll know what they call them. Because this will be a question. What does MLA stand for? And then you just try to remember the first letter of the word there, and you should be able. The M is always member. So that's easy too. And then so in Ontario, we have an MPPs. Ontario is members of provincial parliament. That's what we call our government elected people in Ontario. Good. Okay. I think you'll be able to remember that. We'll do it together. And then finally, Zeniba, could you read this one, please? In each province?
Okay. In each province, the primer has a role similar to that of the Prime Minister in the federal government, just as the lieutenant governor has the role similar to that of the Governor General. In the three territories, the commissioner represents the federal government and plays a ceremonial role.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Okay, so Canada, the leader is the Prime Minister, right? But in the provinces, the leader is called the Premier. Yeah. So yeah, so in Canada, the leader is called the Prime Minister, and in the provinces, the leader is called the Premier. The Premier. So Ontario, we have a Premier. We have a Premier, and his name is. Do you know the Premier of Ontario? Is Doug Ford, and he's called Doug Ford. So the Premier is in Ontario. He's the leader of Ontario, just like the Prime Minister is the leader in Ottawa. Yeah. So every province has a Premier. And you remember the government in Ottawa, for Canada, they have a Governor General, but each province, they have a Lieutenant Governor. So the Premier he has about the similar power for the province as the Prime Minister does for the country. Yeah, that's what it's saying there. But that's only the provinces. The three territories, so Yukon Territory, Northwest Territory, and Nunavut, they don't have a Premier. They have a commissioner. Okay? And they don't have as much power because they don't have many people. Yeah, so those are the things to remember. The territories, they have a commissioner. So Nunavut, Yukon, and Northwest Territories, they have a commissioner. And all the 10 provinces have a Premier. And then Canada, the leader of the government in Canada is the Prime Minister, the federal government, and then the representing the Queen in Canada is the Governor General, and then representing the Queen in the provinces is the Lieutenant Governor. Okay, lots of names here, lots of names. And I'm just going to do the last bit here, showing you how it says Canada's system of government. This is how you can see this picture in the bottom here. You can probably see it in your books better. This is how our system is put together. So the Parliament has three parts. Parliament, it has the Sovereign, and the Senate, and the House of Commons. Okay, so three parts to Parliament. There's always three parts. Parliament has Sovereign, Senate, and House of Commons. So the Sovereign In Canada, we don't have the Queen here. She's in England, so we have a Governor General. The Senate, they are appointed. They're not elected. The Prime Minister says this who they should be, and then the Governor General appoints them. And then the House of Commons, these are the ones that we all vote for. These are the MPs, the members of Parliament. You have government members and opposition members. Yeah, okay. And so and then down here is called the judiciary, and these are all the courts. You have a Supreme Court, the highest court, and then you have federal court and provincial court. So what to try to remember here is that Parliament, the way our government is, we have three parts. We have sovereign, we have the Senate, and then we have the House of Commons. Okay, lots of information today. I think you'll do well in the test, though. I think the test will be okay. Okay, so let's see. Adiel, I think you're muted. So I'll go with Zaniba first. Zaniba, would you like to do this?
It's okay, no problem. I'm here.
That's okay? Okay, good. Okay, so let's see. I'll get Zaniba to do this question, and then Diallo, you do the next question.
Yeah,
Okay?
it's okay.
Okay, Zaniba, can you do this part, please? Just 1 second. Yeah, Zaniba, you're muted. So if you could take your mute off, that would be good.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
I didn't see that. Okay. What are the three parts of the Parliament? Three parts Parliament. Okay. Police, Senate, and House Command of the. Yes, and Prime Minister House Command is like teacher, the House Command, all of them, they have post Parliament. Yeah, it's like number 3. Is that number 3?
No, number
What do you
4.
think? What do you think? So
That
what,
is
do you
number
remember where the, sorry, do you remember where the MPs are, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
And Senate and House of the Parliament. May I say House of Parliament or House of Common?
Yeah, which one do you think? Is it 3 or 4?
Yeah, House say is like 4, yes. Because House of Parliament, you don't have over there his House of Commons.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, they always try to trick you with these questions. Yeah, very good. House of Commons, Sovereign, Senate, House of Commons. Very good. Very good. Okay. Just move this down a bit. Okay, and then Diallo, could you do this one, please?
Okay. Who select the cabinet minister? Or number 3 or 1?
Okay, so just so you know, senators, they're not elected.
Yeah, number 1.
Yeah, let's try number 1. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Very good. So the prime minister picks the cabinet ministers. He picks like the managers kind of thing. Okay. And then could you do this one, Zaniba, please?
Okay, for what is the Prime Minister of Canada responsible? Better of national education, healthy and natural policy of the government. I say is like number 4.
So number 3 and number 4 are close, aren't they? I don't know. You know which they're really close. And they try to trick you.
Policy of the government. Okay, policy on government. Maybe it's number 3.
Want to try number 3? We'll see. Let's see. It could be number 3 or number 4. Let's see. You got it right. They trick you with some of these questions. Yeah, very good. The operation and policy of the government. Very good. Good. Okay, and then could you do this one, please, Diallo?
What is the House of Commons? Oh, one.
Very good.
Yeah.
Chamber made up of members of parliament. Very good. Okay. And then could you do this one, please, Aniba?
Yes. And who often are member of parliament elected? Elected for 5 years? Oh,
What do you think?
5 years or in 4 years?
Which, want to try 4? Let's try 4. Yeah, very good. Yeah, every 4 years they have to
Every
do it.
4 years, yeah.
Yeah, very good. And then could you do this one, please, Diallo?
How are senators appointed? Mm. Number 4.
Good. By the Governor General on the advice of the Prime
On
Minister.
the advice of the Prime Minister.
Yeah, very good. And then Zaniba, could you do this one?
Teacher, today is so like the answer question is like who considered refuse for new law? New law is like the House of Commons and the Senate. Maybe this is number 1. I say number 1.
Yeah, that's fast. Very good. That's fast. Yeah, very good.
Just I say like
you're getting faster as we go along. Right? Okay, and Diallo, what's this one?
What is proposal for a new law called? Number 2.
Okay, so do you remember what I said? If before it's
A bill?
yeah, I should stop talking.
Yeah.
It's because you had it right there. Okay, there we go. And then Zaniba, what's this one?
okay. How can a bill become a law in Canada? This is it passed by the House of Commons. Teacher, this I will say if it's correct number 2. No.
Very good. Yeah, you're getting them all right. Yeah, passed by both chambers, so the House of Commons and the Senate,
Yeah.
and then it receives royal assent. It goes to the Governor General. Yeah, very good. Very good. Yeah.
For a bill to become a law, how many readings must it go through? 3.
Very good.
Okay, what form of government does Canada have? Constitution, that's constitution. The number 1.
It's hard. It's hard to say, isn't it? Constitutional monarchy.
Constitutional.
That word is always hard to say. Constitutional monarchy.
Constitutional.
There you go. Constitutional monarchy. Very good. Very good. As long as you know the right answer, you don't have to say it all. Okay, and then Diallo, what's this?
Who is Canada's head of state? The Prime Minister?
Okay, think about this one.
No. I know it's the governor general
Okay.
And mix.
and the senator.
No, this is hard. This is hard. So which one do you want? You could do any of these. So which one do you
Yeah,
want?
I remember this question before, but I mistake every time.
Yeah, I know it's hard. It's a hard thing to because they.
The
It's,
queen.
let's try the queen. I don't know. Let's try.
Yeah, the queen.
Yeah,
I know.
very good.
I remember.
The state.
Yeah, the queen
Yeah,
is
I
the.
mistake this question. They have a lot of questions the same this.
Yeah, so this is they try to remember this question because it's not what you
Yeah,
think. Is it?
of
Yeah, the
state,
queen.
the head
Yeah,
of state. Yeah.
the of state part. The of
Yeah.
state. The queen is the head of state.
Yeah, I know.
That's the hard one. And then Zaniba, what's this one?
What is hereditary suffrage? Queen or king? Prime minister? Oh, this is hard than more than before. Another one. Okay, this one here, hereditary. That question is the one. Hereditary.
You remember what this word means? That word there?
That is the answer is coming.
Sovereign. Sovereign. Try to remember that what that word means.
Yeah, so that is, I should say, governor general.
Okay, so no, do you remember what the word sovereign means?
So what does it mean?
Yeah.
If I remember, it's like, teacher, the question, the answer is like queen or king.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, they use that word sovereign a lot. It just means king or queen. It just means
King.
we have a queen, so that's all it means. It's a fancy word for king or queen. That's all it is. So if you ever see sovereign, it just means queen or queen. And this hereditary, it just means their children become king or queen.
Mhm.
That's all it means. Sovereign just means king or queen. Okay. And then can you do this one?
What does constitutional monarchy means? Number one or two?
Try to
Number one?
remember. So
Number
why?
one?
Try to remember this. Try to remember number one. Okay, let's see. There's supposed to be. Okay, but what the monarchy part is if you would just say constitutional, that would be okay.
Yeah.
But they have this word monarchy, constitutional. We could
Monarchy.
try. We could try whatever you think. What do you want to do?
Yeah, 1 second.
Okay.
Number three.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Whenever they use that word monarchy,
Yeah.
that's another word for king or queen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of words for king or queen. Sovereign and monarchy. So try to remember those words, sovereign and monarchy. There we go. Okay. And then
okay, how does
Can you-
Canada's head of the state accept the British Constitution?
these are very difficult questions. Okay, so do you remember sovereign head of state reign? Reign is when a queen or king, they control things. When they're in power. That's what it means to reign. Reign.
And making decision alone by deciding government of the country. And this is maybe I say number one, British Constitution. No.
Okay, so just this part here is okay. Let's look at some of these. So the queen, it's not number three because the queen doesn't make any decisions, right?
Yes,
You know it's not number three, and you
Yes.
know it's not number four because the
No.
queen doesn't control our country.
Law.
Got to be
and-
one. It's got to be one or two.
Yes.
And
it's
this
Two.
This one's, I don't know, let's see. This says in accordance with the British constitutional
On
only.
number 2.
Number 2, teacher, maybe.
Yeah, let's try number 2. Let's try number 2 and see if that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put that only in there. That would mean Great Britain controls Canada, and that's not right. Okay. And then Diallo, what's this?
What would best describe the role of the Queen in Canada? Mm, um, mm, Jesus. Yes. Number 1.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, very good. She's a symbol of
Yeah.
our sovereignty and
Yeah.
our constitutional freedoms. Oh, very good. And then this is for Zaniva, please.
Yes. To how many Commonwealth national is Canada linked? Is 53.
Yeah.
Very good. That was fast. Very good.
Who is Canada's head of government? Prime Minister.
Okay, they're coming fast now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we
Then
go easy.
you get a big one here.
What is the difference between the head of government actually descend governing? Yes, number 1, governing of the country. Wait, teacher.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, the head of
Yeah.
government
Yeah. Good.
governs the country. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, and then Diallo?
Who is the suffrage represented by in Canada? Number 1, the Governor General.
Yeah, very good.
Who is the Governor General choices appointed by the suffrage in the advice? Number 1.
Number 1.
Yeah.
Very good.
What do you call the Queen's representative in the provinces?
Member of the parliament.
Mm, Senator or number 4?
Yeah, very good.
Okay,
Lieutenant.
yeah. Yeah.
Lieutenant. Yeah. Okay.
How is the Lord choice appointed by the sovereign in the advice of the Prime Minister or appointed on the advice of the last one, the number 4? Yes.
Oh, you guys are fast. Okay.
What are the 3 branches of Canada government? And this is it's hard. Executive,
Executive. Yeah.
executive and legislative and judicial.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Executive, legislative, and judicial.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very
Judicial.
good. Very good.
Very,
That's
very hard.
really good. You guys did really good. You did them very fast, and you did about, I don't know, 25 questions there. That was very good.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just. Very good. Okay, good.